See, to me, this is fun gardening because you're not fighting against nature. You're having fun. You're working with it. You're stewarding the soil. That's what I want to going forward. That's what I want to do. I want to help you guys create spaces like this that are not so dependent on your ability to go out in the garden every day or not. You want to be able to leave the garden and it be okay. Something so beautiful about resiliency, about a system that can take care of itself. I think so often with our technological age and like all the different gadgets we've got over time, we've come to depend on that technology rather than depending on the natural systems. A tractor is awesome and it can do so many great things for us, but if we depend on technology on that tractor too much, then we can get lazy and all of a sudden we're stuck with just this system that is dependent on human help. Over there in nature, look how green that is. Look how beautiful green that is. See that? Hear the birds chirping. Hear the animals just loving it. All that space there is not being taken care of, and yet it's thriving. How in the world is that happening? Especially whenever we are actually in a drought. Tennessee, East Tennessee is in a drought. Some places more severe, some less. Here in Knoxville, Tennessee, we're experiencing, it's getting closer to severe. Not quite severe, but it's definitely a drought. If we don't start getting rain in the next week or two, we're gonna be in a serious drought. So, how in the world can that out there being so green, so lush, when it hasn't even been watered? The key is, there are natural systems of creation that are causing this stuff here. The vines, the trees, the undergrowth bushes, the more herb type plants underneath, they're thriving because they have that covering, the layer of decomposing wood chips or leaves or dead grass. Everything has been decomposing and dying for years, and therefore you have all this covering. You have the soil is basically alive. There's no tillage over there, and that is what I've done here in this garden. What I've done here is convert this garden from yard, straight from yard, into garden using wood chips and compost and cardboard. If you want to check out the video of me creating this garden, then I'll put a link in there up at the top there. You can click that. Let me tell you about this. I have put almost zero effort into maintaining this garden ever since I planted it, because I've been so busy. I got engaged. There's so much going on in my life right now. But if you look at it, it's still green. And I'm going to show you in a little bit all the abundance of things that are growing here without me doing anything. I'm talking nothing, y'all. I have not done anything. I haven't even come out here to weed, and yet the garden is almost weedless. And here I have all these crazy amounts of tomatoes. I didn't even stake them up. I'm talking like, y'all, I planted and then I left, which is not the best scenario, but look at this. Look at this abundance. Oh my goodness. I mean, look at these beautiful fruits of the land from minimal to zero effort. Almost all of my effort was at the beginning when I made those layers of compost and wood chips. And actually this garden is only getting better. That's one of the amazing things about this kind of garden here, no till, no dig, is it only gets better with time. And it's only more and more resilient over time. Because like I said, we are in a drought. I'm serious, we're in a drought. And the survivability of a garden normally goes way down if you can't water it. But this garden here is doing just fine because it has these layers of compost and wood chips. Resiliency, y'all, this is key. And I think going forward, we're gonna realize that we really need gardens that are more resilient. A good question to ask about your garden is, if I left my garden for a whole month, would it be okay? What would happen if I left my garden for an entire month? Ask that question, and if you are unsure about how well it would be, if it would be okay, then you might need to start asking some questions about managing your garden. Tillage is the most high maintenance type of garden you can do. But no till, no dig, I mean, y'all, come on. Let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to doing gardens this way, of having those layers of decomposing material, and you're making that soil come alive, and all the organic compounds and all of the microorganisms, the mycorrhizal fungi and the bacteria, it's all working together. The worms start coming in, eating all kinds of good stuff. If we feed the soil, then we're going to be feeding our plants, which is going to be feeding us high nutrient, high quality food, and we can resist any kinds of viruses and bacteria and any kinds of infections. At least we're going to be way better off than we were before. So let me show you the soil. Got these beans here that I'm going to be harvesting to save the seed back. See those seeds right there? That is next year's harvest of beans. I'm saving back. But in the meantime, see that? That's awesome. That is so much food potential just right there. Just a few seeds. It's amazing. So let me show you what's underneath all this. Pull up these, pull this back, pull that back. Okay, let's check this out. These are wild violets that popped up. Just gotta pull those out. That's one nice thing about no till, no dig, is it's easy to pull all the weeds you have up because it's so loose. Even though, I mean, out here, out in the yard is so compact, it's crazy. But right here, I mean, we're talking finger moving type of looseness. That's the word. Okay. Shovel down. Press down. Now, let's see if we can see the layers. Look at that. See those layers? See these layers right here? Oh, it's falling apart because it's so loose. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so under here is the natural native soil. Right here is the primarily mushroom compost. It's a little more brown. Right up at the top is the green waste, basically wood chips up here. So here's the layers we've got, and you can see this soil, whenever we did this whole project, was so compact because it had just been mowed all the time. But now it's as loose as it can get, and it's moist. Even though we're in a drought, this soil down here is moist. Next layer down is right here, and you can see there's all kinds of roots running through this. This is where all the plants are getting a lot of their nutrients. They're going into not only the subsoil, but this layer right here. All the roots are loving eating all this good material. And this as well is somewhat moist. And you can feel it's like a sponge. As soon as it rains, this would soak up so much of the moisture. And then the top right here, all of this right here, is very dry. But that's okay, because it's acting as a barrier for the rest of the garden. It's actually a little moist, but it's acting as a barrier to keep the sun from drying out the lower parts of the soil. I'm going to put all that back. See, one of the cool things about this is that, you know, I've got these layers down. They're not going anywhere. they're decomposing. All I have to do to maintain this garden is to add organic matter on top about once or twice a year, just a layer of wood chips, and then I'm done. I'm done fertilizing, I'm done irrigating, and I'm done doing any weed prevention, because really all I have to do is this fall come in through here, pull out the weeds that try to make it, and then next year is going to be even easier. This was the first year doing the garden this way. Let me show you these tomatoes that are growing. Look at that. Wow. I mean, that is about as happy as you can get as far as tomatoes go. So good. Got another one down there. Look at that. Beautiful. And notice they're not cracking. See how that is not cracking? The reason is the soil moisture in here is so constant because the wood chips keep it constant. They allow it to not get too wet or too dry. If it was to rain in a ton right here, this area could get flooded, but it's not going to get flooded because all of these wood chips right here, all the wood chips act as like a wick. If it's too wet, saturated, they wick off the water. If it is too dry, it acts as a layer of protection to keep it nice and moist. Look at this tomato right here. Just look at this. Let me pull this out. Oh yeah. That is a nice tomato. Yummy to my tummy. Now you notice that little hole right there? That's okay. That's the stamp of approval, as Justin calls it, of organic, all natural. No pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides, anything. That is just natural, good tomato. We got 3 big tomatoes here. Let's go in and see if we've got any potatoes, because they are done. A little bit roasted. Okay. Try this out. Okay. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Potatoes here. Just pull them out. See how easy it is to pull them out because it's so loose. I mean, I'm talking good stuff. We even planted these a little too late. We planted them inside of the here was kale, all a bunch of kale, and we planted them within the kale so the kale could go to seed. And now you can see all the kale's gone to seed. I'll be saving back that kale seed. Here's some right here. See all this? It's full of kale seeds, full of them. So we can just pull those back, save them, and we're good. We also are growing some great potatoes. So this is one plant right here. Did pretty good, not too bad for the first year. Oh, there's another one. They just keep coming. I think that's all. Yep. So look at that. See how loose that is? That is what you want to garden in. You don't want to have to work with all the hard clay and everything. But if you build on top, and I'm talking, you are having all kinds of good fun gardening. Now y'all, this is fun gardening because you're not fighting against nature. You're having fun. You're working with it. You're stewarding the soil. That's what I want to going forward. That's what I want to do. I want to help you guys create spaces like this that are not so dependent on your ability to go out in the garden every day or not. You want to be able to leave the garden and it be okay. You know, there's a stewardship that happens where you think, oh, the wrong kind of stewardship is you think, oh, my garden needs me. You know, I need to be there right all the time. You need to be out there every day. No, the stewardship you want to work towards is to help that garden space, help that soil get to a place where it can be independent of you. Kind of like parenting, which I'm not a parent, so take all this with a grain of salt because I am not a parent and haven't been one and hope to be one someday, but not yet. Anyways, so basically the type of gardening that I shoot for is, you know, you're kind of the parent, you're the shepherd, you're the caretaker of the soil that you're taking care of, whether that's pots on your windowsill or on your patio or around your house, edible landscaping, doing bushes or trees around your house, whatever it is. I'm just gonna sit down right here. Basically, you want to get your garden to a place where it can take care of itself. What kind of parent raises their kid to where that kid needs them when the kid is like, 25, 30, 35, 40. Basically prolonged childhood. That's never good, you know? That's never good. Now, to a degree, we should always have that relationship with our parents, but over time, you kind of wean them off of yourself to where they can take care of themselves. That's the same thing for the garden. You want to get it to a place where eventually it can take care of itself for the most part. You know, you have set it up for success. You plant what needs to be planted there, and then it's up to it. Honestly, it's gonna grow if you have all the right ingredients there. It's just gonna be like popping, y'all. Super fun. I'm serious. Probably look really weird right now because I'm doing weird facial expressions, but you know what? That's me. That's Benj Meeks, the garden guy. I'm a little goofy, but I like it because it keeps life spicy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, see, look at these. This didn't work so good. This little cabbage, it was planted too late. But it's still growing. It might have some bugs on there, but it's gonna grow. And you know what? I don't consider that a failure because I tried it. Y'all, we got to get over this whole can mentality. If we have this can't mentality, oh, I can't do that because of ABC. Like Justin Rhodes said, I was talking to him the other day and did an interview with him. He was saying if we have this can't mentality, we're never gonna get going on the big visions that we have. You know, a lot of people today want to be homesteaders. And Bree and I, Gabriella and I, my fiance, we want to get a farm. We want to get to a place where we can grow a lot of our own food. But you know what? To get there, we need to learn the ways of gardening. We need to learn how to steward the land on smaller spaces. So that's what I encourage y'all to do, is figure out, okay, what soil can I steward today? And how can I get it to where it's gonna be an independent garden? It's gonna be taking care of itself over time. And I'm gonna help you guys with that. Help you as we're all growing together. Keep sowing and growing together. And y'all, you want your garden to be able to take care of itself even in a drought. I mean, do you hear those cicadas and stuff? It's hot. It's hot right now. We've had record high temperatures. I saw on the Weather Channel, it was the highest temperature since 1884 here. And yet, look at this garden. It might look dry, but compared to other people's gardens that are tilled, it's thriving because those plants would have been dead by now. See this okra? This okra is opened up in the middle of the day. Opened up in the middle of the day. Y'all, it is possible to have stress-free, fun gardens. And that's my goal, is to help you guys do that. So let's keep going. Let's keep sowing, keep growing. I'm gonna harvest the rest of these big old things. And oh my goodness, look at this. It's crazy. Here you go, watch this. Oh, yeah, it's a big one. And we're going to make sure, I'm gonna save these seeds for next year because it's an heirloom variety. That's another thing, heirlooms tend to be a lot harder because they haven't been modified genetically to have to be able to depend on people. Heirlooms are generally more hardy. So folks, thanks so much for following along the Garden Guy channel. I know today was a lot of talking, but I'm excited about this because y'all, we're talking in a drought and my garden is doing just fine. And I haven't even planted or watered pretty much. So at first I was like, you know what, I'm a gardening failure because I haven't been out here, garden guy out here gardening. But honestly, I feel like the best success because of that changed mind. I realized, you know what, that can-do mentality. This garden has done phenomenal considering the TLC that I have not given it. So folks, thanks for watching again, and I hope this is encouragement to you to get your gardens going towards more self-maintaining type of gardening. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing, but the principles that we are going to keep on discussing in this channel are universal. They can work in Africa, Europe, Russia, Australia, on an island somewhere, and right here in Tennessee. Folks, catch you later on the Garden Guy channel, where we like to transform spaces and steward them towards abundance. I like that word, abundance, don't you? Let's do it. Catch you later. Wait, actually, reverse. I wanted to say goodbye with all the fruits and stuff. Catch you guys later on the Garden Guy channel for the last time. Here you go. Boom, baby. Good stuff. That's what it's all about right there, folks. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Mm.